I cannot guarantee that I will be with my wife, Filipino wife, forever.
Right.
Because once they separated, the Bureau of Immigration requires that person, that foreigner, to downgrade or cancel that spousal visa.
All right, so this is JR right here. And we were over there, but they were playing the music and everything, and I can't have copyright music, obviously. So JR, what's the name of your company?
That's JRC Visa Consultancy and Immigration Services.
All right. And so JR here, he has JRC Visa and Consultancy and Immigration Services.
Yes, that's correct.
And so what he does is he helps out expats, especially American expats, correct?
Yes.
The vast majority.
Yes.
And so if you are needing notarized documents or something from the US, anything like that, that would be you?
That is forming part maybe on the requirements of the visa application.
Okay.
But what we do basically is we actually help expats who are planning to relocate and live in the Philippines for their visa applications.
Okay, so if somebody wants a retirement visa,
Yes,
stuff like that,
yes.
and they're still in the US?
Yeah,
You
they
can
can do
arrange it.
the preparatory work, but the actual visa application process should be done here.
Right, so, but when should they contact you? Before they come here or when they're here?
It would be best if they can actually contact us before they came here, because
Okay.
there are requirements that needs to be done in the US.
Right. And his offices are in Cebu, but it doesn't matter, right?
Yes.
You can have meetings anywhere with...
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's here, actually. You're here for family, though?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, he's here for family right now.
For the new year.
For the new year, that's right. Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, likewise here.
So, yeah, so you have different types of things you can do.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to an SRRV, how long? It's still 50 and over right now, right?
Yes,
They didn't
correct.
bring back the 35 plus one?
Not yet.
Not yet, not yet. And so the 50 and over, let's go, there's two different ways, right? There's one if you're a US military,
Yes, that's correct.
and then there's one that if you are not US military. Okay, so what is the minimum requirements for people who aren't in the military?
Okay, minimum requirement, the age is 50 years old at least.
Okay.
And then if you don't have any pension, you can still apply for the retirement visa. You can do the basic one, which is the classic. It will require you to have a visa deposit of $20,000 US.
Okay, and when it says deposit, I believe that also can mean like a condo.
No.
No?
It
Okay.
is actually a bond, shall we say.
Okay.
You need to put that in as one of the major requirements before you can complete it and process your visa application.
And is that bond into a Philippines bank account?
Yes.
Okay. But the thing is how do you get a Philippines bank account unless you've been here for 3 months?
Okay, two ways. Because if you're gonna apply for the retirement visa per se, on your question earlier today that they can actually contact us before they come here or relocate in the Philippines,
Yep.
because we can actually give them the bank account of the retirement office and they can just wire the money, and we'll give you the instruction for that particular requirement to be completed or accomplished.
Okay, so this is an account with Land Bank? Is that what it is? The government bank?
It's actually the Development Bank of the Philippines.
Okay, Development Bank of the Philippines. Now after that, you can move it to a BPI bond or something like
No.
that, or no? It always stays with them.
It
Okay.
stays with them.
So just so I know, I didn't know if it was a private thing or a public thing or anything like that. Okay, so the government has that. So it's 20,000 US dollars, and that doesn't matter what country you're from,
Yes, correct.
for the most part, as long as you're a country that does allow people to come here and get an SRRV. Is there any countries that are not allowed?
Basically,
currently?
they're open to
Okay.
the retirement visa is much more flexible with other visas,
Okay.
because there are other visas right now that has been issued by the Bureau of Immigration directly, such as spousal visa and other visas available, and the retirement visa is much more flexible and open.
Okay, and if you have a retirement visa and you're military, what's the deposit requirement?
That's the best part of it,
Yeah.
because for the monetary requirements, it will require you a lower visa deposit. From 20 grand, it will go down to 1,500.
Wow.
That's a good deal.
Quite a bit less. So
Yeah.
1,500 US dollars. Now what else is there? Obviously there's going to be, is there background checks in the United States or whatever country you're from?
Yes, there is. But before I go to that, there's also one monetary requirement that is very advantageous for the former military, because there's what we call a ID renewal every year. So that's 360 on the classic.
Okay.
And then if you're actually applying through the expanded courtesy, that is where the qualification of the serviceman before, US serviceman before, or
Okay.
the military ones who have
Yep.
served the US military. And Instead of 360, that would be around $10 per year.
$10. Wow. So they're very pro U.S. military here, obviously.
Yeah.
Now that's not extended to other military, right? Like Canadian military.
It is also open, subject to the approval, as long as they have a diplomatic relationship with the Philippine government.
I didn't know that. So technically, if you're UK, if you're Canadian,
Australian,
whatever, if you are retired military, you can potentially be approved.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that's new. I didn't know that. And only pay $10 a year after that.
Yeah.
And there's no exit requirements, right? Once you have an SSRV, you can come and go as you please.
Yes.
Right.
And the best part is you're not required upon entry for the return ticket. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
can book it based on your schedule.
And if you have family, so say you are retired at say 50, right?
Yeah.
And yet you still have like a 13-year-old kid and, you know, and a wife and all that kind of stuff. They all get in with that same visa?
Yes, they can be your dependents.
Okay. So they don't need a separate visa or anything like that. It's not $360 per person.
It's the $360 and the $20,000 comes with 3 persons already. The principal,
Okay.
the dependent spouse, and 1 dependent child.
And 1 dependent child. Okay.
Beyond that, there will be additional monetary requirement. It's $15,000 for the Classic, and another $300 for the one-time application fee for the retirement visa.
Nice.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, that is a good deal. Really good deal. All right. So SSRV, retirement, special retirement visa. What's another type of visa that foreigners can get?
Most common for Americans right now is 13A, spousal visa. So once they get married to a Filipino citizen here, they're actually entitled to apply or qualified to apply for that spousal visa.
Right, and the 13A visa allows you to work in the Philippines.
Yes, correct.
Right. Now, the SSRV, you can't work.
You can, but you need to apply for another permit from the Labor Department.
Right, a work permit.
Yes.
Now, if you are retired and you have a spouse, right? What's the difference? Like, what would you recommend somebody that is over the age of 50 and they are married to a Filipina, and so they have both options? They can go SSRV or just be married. Because I know on the married one, you have to leave and come back together once a year, right? But then it's like nothing, $6 a year or something, or not even that. It might be free. I don't even know. As long as you enter with your wife, it resets for another year. So that one's essentially free. Where the SSRV obviously you have to pay for.
Yes, correct.
Right. And so, which one do you recommend though? Like, what gives you more options?
I think before you're referring to the Balikbayan visa.
Yeah, comparing the Balikbayan visa and comparing. Oh, so the married spouse visa is another one?
Yes, correct.
Jeez, I didn't even know that. Okay. All right. So let's go over that then. Okay. So the one you were talking about.
The Balikbayan visa is actually an upgraded version of the tourist visa because that's a special privilege. Once you still have, you still not have the spousal visa. So once you enter with your Filipino spouse upon entry in the country in our airports, you are granted of the Balikbayan visa, which is valid for a year.
So I didn't know that. So that it's not technically a spousal visa.
Yes, not yet.
Yeah. Okay. So, but the spousal visa, you don't have to leave the country.
No.
Right. Okay. And what else is granted with the spousal other than you can now apply for a 13A visa?
Yes.
And was that the same thing? Spousal is 13A?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So 13A, and that allows you to work and make money here in the Philippines.
Yes, correct.
And if you want to start a business or anything like that, you do need to have some kind of work visa.
Yes.
Do you need a 13A? No, I guess not, because you don't. What if you're not married to a Filipino? You can still start a business.
Yeah, correct. What is called here in the Philippines is we don't actually practice here dual visa. So technically, once you have the 13A, once you have that, you can now actually work here in the Philippines.
Right.
What is the next thing is the Labor Department, that's alien employment permit, but it still varies to what type of industry and what type of the company is here in the Philippines. That's still another story apart from the visa, but it is attached. Going back to your question, which is better, it's actually a complex question. It depends really on the individual. But there are people that would say, okay, JR, retirement visa might cost me 20 grand. However, I cannot guarantee that I will be with my wife, Filipino wife, forever.
Right.
Because once they separated, the Bureau of Immigration requires that person, that foreigner, to downgrade or cancel that spousal visa. So it's not forever.
Right.
There are people that actually told me that in the States, once you're granted with a spousal visa, you have that forever.
Right, right. If you have a green card, then you're good. You know, they don't have to stay with you. That's why they all bounce. Right? After you get the green card, all of a sudden, whoa, my wife's not into me anymore. I've heard these stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's different.
Yeah.
So once they got annulled, they got separated, they are required to have that canceled and going back to tourists. So
Okay. Well, you said two different things there. Annulled can take years. Separated, well, you just walk out.
yeah.
So even walking out, you got to figure out something else on a visa.
Yes.
So you can be in a bad situation. So if you have the SRRV though,
You can get married as long.
yeah, you can stay. You can still be married to a Filipina and
Yes.
everything. And if anything happens to that, you are still on a retirement visa.
Correct.
All right. So that technically probably is the best one.
Yes.
Especially if you're a U.S. Service personnel or apparently any other country, because then it's not going to cost you that much money. And do you ever get that bond back?
Yeah.
How many years?
There are two things. They can actually withdraw that bond, or once they cancel the visa, the retirement office is gonna return that.
Right,
that
but I'm just saying you're going to stay here for 20 years or something.
No.
They only keep the money for like 4 years. Am I
No,
correct?
it's
4 years?
lifetime. As long as you
Oh, it
have
is
the
lifetime.
visa, that bond is there.
Wow, so you basically give up that 20 grand if you
Yes.
plan to die here in the Philippines.
That's actually a dead money or savings in the other perspective.
Wow, well,
It
it's not
depends.
savings because if you die here, it's gone, right?
It will be returned to your legal heir.
Right, right, to your
So-
legal heir. Okay, so I didn't know that because some other countries, they will grant you another passport, for example, or something like that, like in Malaysia, but you have to deposit 140,000 or invest it into real estate. And you can start withdrawing a little bit of it every year for up to 4 years.
Wow.
But in
Here
this
it's
case,
different.
no, here, it's a lifetime thing if you do plan to die here. All right, so there you go. That's on the retirement visa. That's on the spousal visa. Spousal visa has any fees? What are the fees for that?
Yeah, there's actually a fees for that for the spousal visa. Roughly, it would cost them around 200 US.
200. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. But no, like 20,000 deposits and stuff
no
like
deposits.
that. All right, but you do you run the rest that if anything happens in your relationship. Now, you don't have to leave the country. You just have to change your visa status.
Yes.
You can go be a visitor,
Yes.
but you got to leave and come back?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
As long as you have a valid reason here, like for example, if you do
Yeah.
have a child here,
Right.
then that could be a valid reason for you to stay.
Okay, and you don't have to actually, if you had been here for 3 years, what would happen? Because do you have to leave the country and come back, or would you become a tourist immediately from that period on, and then it would be 3 years from then?
The 3-year mark would be more on applicable to the tourist visa. As long as you have the spousal visa, it's another story.
Okay.
So once you downgrade within that, then they will actually give you fresh 36 months. to the
Oh,
year.
okay, okay.
Once you have a valid reason and they grant you like a valid stay here, you can actually start from 36 upon downgrading.
Oh, interesting. All right, well, let me ask you some more complicated questions because I ran into this situation before. So, for example, I know somebody who was on a spousal visa that his wife passed away. They owned a business together. And, of course, with her. And they had a child, though, together.
Okay.
And so what's going to happen in that situation? Can you put it into the child's name and then you're the parent of that child, so therefore it's legal? How do you work that?
First we need to check what is the setup of the corporation, because that might be single proprietorship. If it's a single proprietorship, if it's a corporation, the shareholding of the deceased spouse will be distributed or will be passed on to the legal heir.
Right.
After the government takes its estate tax.
Right. But if it owns the land, in this case it did, therefore it can't pass to a foreigner. Or can it? Because I've heard some people say that actually if your spouse passes away, you can actually get the land.
There's actually I have not actually dealt it really that deep for now, but we
Fair
have
enough.
actually an initial discussion with our lawyer that there's what they call rights, that the foreigner can actually assume the right or have the right to own the land or the property itself upon the
death of their spouse.
the death of their of the spouse.
Because I've heard that before too, but I wasn't sure and I wasn't able to confirm it. So we'll say it's still not fully confirmed because you're not willing to 100%. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's fair. Okay, what other visas do you deal with? What other situations do you deal with? What does your office do? That's outside of what we already talked about.
There are a lot of visas here in the Philippines. Like there's an investment visa,
Yes.
SIRV, special investors residence visa.
Wait, how much money do you have to have? What's the minimum?
The minimum is you need to send money here in the Philippines for at least 75,000 US.
75,000.
And that 75,000 US will be invested on the listed corporations. Normally they're more into stocks.
Right. Okay.
And once you have invested that, you have the certificate of stock, then that will be you'll be now given the SSRV.
Right, and I believe Mega World is big on that. They push really hard because you can buy, like for example, Festival Walk, you can buy shares in that whole area with them on the stock market. But they're like term deposit sort of things. They want 20 years out of you, that kind of thing, where you put up the money and they give you a set amount of disbursements every year, that kind of thing. I know they really push on those type of things. So because then, especially if you live in that area, you can always keep an eye on your investment because you live in it. You can see how busy everything is and how well everything's run. And so there's advantage to that because you didn't have to give it to the government till you die.
Sure.
Right? You can get this visa. And how long can you stay on that visa?
As long as you have your investments, you keep that visa.
See, there you go. There you go. And it just has to stay at 75,000.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, but if you get, like, say, for example, there's a dividend, you can keep taking the dividend.
Sure.
You just leave the 75,000 principal.
Because that's an investment, yeah.
Right. Huh.
There's a lot. Actually, there's still also one we call the common is the 9G working visa.
9G? I've never heard this one. What's that?
So it's actually a working visa being granted to a foreigner. It's actually like they are in an employer-employee relationship. So some foreigners actually set up a corporation and they actually can apply for the 9G working visa.
Wow, so working for themselves.
Yes.
Nice, nice. Okay. I didn't even know that. Wow. All right. What other things do your office offer? And then we'll make sure that they have a link. I'll make sure I put it down below. Everybody will know where to contact you, but what other options do you offer outside of visas?
We do offer also some consultancies on the side for real estate because I'm a real estate broker.
Oh, okay.
And at the same time, we have actually the support of our 2 attorneys in our office. So we can also do some consulting on the legal side of it.
Okay.
One of our attorneys is also an accountant. So if you have if a certain foreign friends of ours or your subscriber per se can also take a look at a second opinion on some matters that they can actually do in the Philippines. Well,
JR, thanks for joining. I appreciate you meeting me here in Bacolod City. This place is pretty. It's really beautiful. Now you have kids?
Yeah, I have.
What, they're gonna have to come down here?
No.
You don't want to go for swimming?
They're actually somewhere there doing some stuff also in the province.
Oh, they're in the province?
Yeah.
Wait, how old are your kids?
9. I have only 1 kid.
And you put them to work?
No.
You got them working in the provinces.
Or they need to.
He's got them working in the fields already, you know? Yeah. All right, excellent. Well, when I come down to Cebu, we'll have to hang out.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to see you in Cebu.
Fantastic. So anyway, I'll share the link down below. And I'm gonna head out of here. If the power is back on, because I just got a notification from Bianca actually saying that electricity is out right now here in Bacolod. Not here, so they might have a generator, but it's always safe to go to the malls.
Yeah.
They're always running, no matter what, if there's power or not.
They have 24/7.
Yeah, 24/7.
Gen set there.
It's the best place to be, that's for sure. All right. Thanks, guys, and thank you, JR.
Thanks, Mike.
Good morning from
Dumangas.
Yes, this was a special day for us because Nebs over here and his mother are one of the very first people that welcomed us to Iloilo City. And then here we are, they're like, listen, for New Year's, for Christmas, that kind of thing, we'd like to take you guys to a really special place. Well, they were right, it is a special place. This place looks so cool, look at this. It's like a themed restaurant place right on the water. You can see like this fish over here, he's spitting. We're gonna be seeing that in a second. But see, like, look at all these cabanas and everything out on